pledge allegiance.
Sorry.
You're good.
Good. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Okay, I'm just going to read this one. It's James Saltzman, $224.16. One check. Ready? Jason Gagnon, 229.72. Andrew Gray is 516.51. Andrea Bickham is 631.28. Cameron Clement is 1,101.98. Tamara Peak is 703. Did I say that right? 703.84. Daphne Wass is 714.51. Katie Coppola is 153.99. Shayla Gherkin is 52.64. Mary Lyons Hall is 198.9. Janice Weirs is 782.99. Kiki Dennis Wall 687.46. Lily Gretzky is 52.64. Joyce Keeble is 532.92. Katie Blazik Ahern is 986.51. Jeffrey Collins is 906.25. Warren Graham is 435.91. Wayne Robinson is 956.78. Kendra Brackett is 492.28. Robert Gagnon is 193.08. Matt Kelly is $1,418.87. Kevin Nealand is $1,336.83. Robert McCon is $355.48. Kiera Norris is $337.83. Richard Sawyer is $1,714. Christopher Spilleri is $1,486.49. Josh Turner is $534.34. Jeremy Worcester is $929.99. Jared Wright Ward is $847.54. Joseph Bird is $933.63. John Bryant is $979.26. Evan Crafts is $200.11. Keith Culligan is $555.25. Alyssa Sanuski is $307.52. Alexander Hall is $188.30. Timothy Labonte is $509.78. Katerina Tennant is $770.48. Trevor Whitby is $985.49. Kit Kaiser is $783.77.
Oh, sorry. Total of $25,531.87.
We have 22 hours of overtime in the PD, 24 hours of overtime in the fire department, and 29 hours of overtime in the highway. Ready?
Yep.
Amazon Capital Services is $142.15. Caden Blazik Ahern is $69.70. Block 5 Technologies is $768.30. Brentwood Newsletter Fund $1,472.73. Brentwood Power Equipment Center is $6.92. Center for Occupational Health is $200 even. Comcast is $358.91. E&J Auto Parts 2 is $253.90. Eversource is $162.50. Carbon Oil and Propane is $3,077.94. Harrison Schrader Enterprises is $1,855. Health Trust Inc. is $25,037.95. Lawn Doctor is $12,318.65. LCB Transport Inc. is $662.89. Liberty International Truck of New Hampshire is $138.16. Morton Salt is $4,520.87. New England Truck Center is $185. NHSCOA is $30. Print Graphics of Maine is $537.60. Quadrant Finance USA is $1,003. Wayne Robinson is $70 even. Rockingham County Registry is $19.16. Nicole Sawyer is $650. Unifor Corp. is $114.38. Valak is $186.45. Verizon Wireless is $111.06.
For a total of $53,953.22.
Looks like we have 2 reg checks.
Yep.
Treasurer's Report 2/1 of 2022. Previous balance, $6,651,836.56. The deposits were $62,476.56. The payroll was $25,756.03. The payroll taxes were $6,666.66. The total AP was $750,855.22, with a payment to Swayze for $198,683, and a payment to the co-op for $498,219. Our account balance is currently $5,931,035.21. Interest year to date is $654.39.
Thank you.
Interest.
Thank you.
Motion for the minutes.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion for the non-public.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Building permits. Town of Brentwood, 190 Route 125. It is the permit to replace the 5 doors. Letty Bedard, 198 Middle Road, is completion of her rebuild. George and Robin Marquis, 28 Sherman Ave, electrical permit. Crown Castle, 152 Route 27. Co-location of antennas and ancillary equipment on the towers. New Height Properties, 60 Middle Road, plumbing permit for new dwelling. And David and Courtney Klimaszewski, 28 Eleanor's Way, installation of roof-mounted solar panels.
I was waiting for one.
Janice is here and her request is in your packet.
Janice? Come on down.
Hello.
And you want to discuss impact fees?
Yes, the library would like to use approximately $3,300 of impact fees for children's room furniture. The furniture that we have now is not only aging to the point where the tables are bowing, but we also find that we need to have something more portable. So we're looking for tables on wheels, tables with adjustable heights for various age groups, chairs to go with them, and then we're also looking for what are called back jacks, which are chairs that go, well, they're actually like a cushion on the floor with a hard backing, and to support adults sitting on the floor. This is Kiki, she's the children's librarian, so I just invited her to come as well. The chairs we picked are easier to clean. Right now, the ones we have are textured to the point where it's difficult to clean them, and we've had opportunities when we've had to clean them after kids have been sitting on them, so So all of these things are improvements that I think will certainly help the growing community that are using the library.
Meet the requirements, Karen.
Yes, and they have an account balance of $35,678.
Make a motion for the 330680.
Second?
I'm sorry, I should have said before, this is an estimate based on what the costs were at the time we put this together. Is there a way to do it for a little bit more in case the price goes up? Because some of these items are sale items.
Do you have a, can we do like a 10% contingency, or is that, do they need an exact number?
You can if that's how you build the motion, unless you know what the original prices are before the
I
sale.
don't, and there's one item that we're gonna actually get a quote for, which could bring the price down. So my hope is that it stays.
Why don't we
Add
make a
this
motion
or
for
less.
$3,500 or less?
Second.
All in favor?
Alright,
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Andy seconded it.
Do you want to do the Mill Road fish? Do we have to leave that open for a while? or not?
No, you don't. You can just open it. We didn't post it for a specific time this evening.
All right, so I'm gonna open up the bids for the Mill Road
Bob here.
Bridge.
Bob's here.
Oh, there he is.
No, he says he's not
He's
coming up.
not, he's not here.
You're just gonna play victim, or?
Did you wanna come up?
I wasn't invited yet. I'm not gonna use her transition.
He's multitasking.
I know, I'm gonna switch hats on him too. There's different packets, yes.
Come on, Bob.
How do I have? Two?
Well, you should have one extra for Ken, one for Karen.
Yeah, but I have one with a different name.
Is that their, that's their statement of qualifications, that one? They only had one copy of that.
So I guess I should give this to Bob since he's the chair.
The total price is on page 5.
So, total bid comes in at $424,950, $424,950.00. I do know there was talk of federal bridge aid being a priority right now, and I didn't know what your thoughts were on that, what you're seeing. Any talk about that?
There's lots of talk about it right now, but in terms of the rubber meeting the road, pardon the pun, it's not likely to be available immediately. So,
This is the only bid we received, right?
Do you have an extra one? Because Wayne's here too.
Sure. Where's Wayne?
I don't know, it's on tonight.
Wayne, I see you out there.
I'm ready.
You want us?
I just the total.
Yes, Bob, I'll turn it over to you. What are your thoughts on the bid?
well, as you know, we've had 3 rounds of this, so I'm hesitant to have any thoughts until I've gone through it in detail, but I'm thankful that we have a proposer, and I'm anxious to review the qualifications. The price is a little bit above our estimate, but in this market, which is insane, I think I'm grateful to have a proposer.
What do we have in the,
More than that.
what was our estimate?
You want the total or?
no, as long as it's more than that.
I'm not sure, John, I think it was upper 300,000s.
I guess once we review this, we'll know how they're gonna be doing, whether or not you guys need to clerk it, stuff like that, or what
Yeah.
the recommendations are. So,
Yeah.
how long do you think it'll take for you to review this and then maybe come back before us and tell us what your thoughts are?
I think we'll be able to get through this and get back to you next week.
Okay.
That's soon enough, I can do it faster if needed.
Oh, that's good.
So we'll table it till next week?
Yep.
Can I, just one question, because I haven't been through this process before. Inside this, obviously I haven't read through the whole thing, and neither of you, but generally, is there like a time frame that
Yes, it
they?
should be.
Okay.
Time of completion, page 5.
Excuse me, can you let them speak up a little, it's kind of hard to hear.
Oh, sorry, let me put this over here.
Speaker's not on, so.
Oh, it's not? Well, then I guess it doesn't really matter. I will yell for you, yes.
Okay.
We're gonna,
Especially with the mask,
Just not
it's hard
mumble.
to hear.
I won't mumble. We're gonna table this till next week. And I'm just looking at the timeline on this bid.
It says within the number of calendar days indicated in the agreement.
Yep, so
So we'll have to put on,
I'm confident it was in the request for bids
okay.
that, and I don't know what that was offhand.
Yeah.
So it's been months. so.
It's on paragraph 15, section 6 of
Are
the
you joking?
spec.
Oh, thanks.
What is it? Paragraph?
No, it's
No,
not.
of
The-
whatever
It's not
the-
actually
I'm like,
in
what
there.
the heck, man?
Yeah.
Whatever the
Where?
bid request we sent
Oh,
out
okay.
for,
And how many companies did you guys end up reaching out to? There was multiple, right?
Yes, so we, in addition to the first round, more than 10,
Wow.
yeah.
That's the extras.
Was this one of the firms you reached out to?
No,
Was this one of the firms that have attended any of our previous pre-bid meetings?
they showed up at the site after, and left before I arrived. Wayne and I sat here for half an hour waiting for stragglers, and nobody showed up, so I went to the site and saw footprints, and then I got notified that they had gone to the site. And,
Yeah, guy in the green jacket. I watched him too.
I thought this bid gone, just so you know.
awesome, should I take that, or do you wanna send it to me, or you can email it to
Do you
me?
want me to scan your copy?
If it's not too much trouble, or you can just email it to me tomorrow.
And then since you're already sitting here, talk to us about the warrant article.
do you have their qualifications? Because we should keep a copy of that
Only-
too.
I don't have copies, did you want, and then I'll just scan you the whole package?
Do you need this copy of the bid?
No, that one's in there.
They gave us multiple of those. So talk to us about the land conservation bond warrant article you guys are recommending.
All right. So, the Conservation Commission, I'm wearing a new hat here. The Conservation Commission reached out to the land developer at 41A Mill Road. And in those discussions, it was made clear to us that the land is not for sale. And if it were for sale, their perception of its value was much, much higher than ours, and what we were willing to submit to the town for request to purchase the land. So I had submitted a draft of a warrant article to, and I was going to fill in a dollar amount later when we had the chance to discuss it here, and when I knew more information from the developer, but in that discussion, it didn't seem to make much sense. They're thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 million. So, I decided I was gonna submit a separate warrant article, which I did. And, that warrant article is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $3 million gross budget for purchasing land or other interests therein for conservation. $3 million of such sum to be raised through bonds or notes in compliance with the Municipal Finance Act, RSA, blah, blah. To authorize the select board to issue, negotiate, sell, and deliver said bonds and notes, and to determine the rate of interest thereon and maturity and other terms thereof, and to take any other action they deem appropriate to effectuate the sale and/or issuance of said bonds or notes, subject however to the following provisions. Provisions are: no such bonds shall be issued with a term of maturity less than 15 years. Such bonding authority shall expire at conclusion of fiscal year 2027. Purpose of warrant article: to conserve parcels determined by the Conservation Commission to be of strategic conservation interest to protect wildlife habitat and water resources while helping to maintain the town's rural character. Where practicable, such land would be made available for use of citizens of town for recreation, i.e. hiking, biking, running, hunting, fishing, etc., within the laws of New Hampshire. Use restrictions may be imposed by the town, however, after purchase to comply with future grants, easements, and/or sale of property rights to permanently ease for conservation and to offset the cost to the town, as long as such restrictions comply with the spirit of purpose and at the discretion of the select board. Land or property interests to be purchased with bond proceeds shall be acquired in the name of the town by the Conservation Commission, subject to the approval of the select board pursuant to RSA 36-A:4. I basically took this warrant article for 41A Mill Road and massaged it into the article from 2002, where the town voted to bond $2 million for conservation. And the $3 million figure I came up with, that's not, I think it's a good number, but that's not etched in stone. It's much less than the current equivalent of the $2 million bond 20 years ago. I would guess that amount would realistically in today's dollars be $4 to $5 million.
Do you have any idea what the vote was? Did you happen to look at the vote totals from the town in 2002?
No, but I have it on good authority that the town always votes in favor of conservation. I heard that today, so.
So is that bond getting paid off this year? It's 20-year, right? Or is it 2023?
So the warrant article passed for $2 million and then authorized the board to issue bonds as you went. So all of those bonds that were issued have different expiration dates depending on when they were executed. So
How much total was it?
all of the $2 million has been depleted. They'll start expiring, I think, in the next couple of years.
What was the largest? Well-
Let me go grab my,
I have it right here,
do
Karen.
you have all of the bond payments?
I have the maturity schedule. So, and the largest was $976,151, and it matures in August 2028. The others range from $240,000 to $500,000, and the last date of maturity is January 2032. The 15-year minimum and the 5-year or 4-year, I'm not sure which it was, term to expend the funds combined to up to 19 years from the date of the warrant.
Bond.
So any more discussion, or do I have a motion to,
Can we anyone else have
anybody
any?
in the public want to talk about it, or? Yes, Liz?
I just think it's the wrong year. Liz Faria, South Road.
And you guys have specific land that you're looking at right now, or?
We have a list that we've started of conservation, potentially conservable parcels. And, but of course, those aren't all for sale. So with this, we wouldn't be borrowing $3 million from the town, from residents this year, and the town would not be paying back $3 million in this fiscal year. So basically the town would be making money available to the Conservation Commission at the discretion of the select board to spend on conservation land as these projects came along, as owners were trying to sell their property. And it would also give us the wherewithal to approach them and have serious discussions about conserving their property when they're ready to sell it or move on out of town. So that's something that was lacking, because we conserved a lot of land in Brentwood in the past, and when we used up the $2 million, it lessened quite a bit. And to the point now where I think everyone knows we have this project before us here in town that many residents wish had gone another way. And if we had been ready with this, armed with this, we would have been able to do something about it, and much more economically, I might add, than even if we were to do it now.
And that's the 41A?
Yeah.
Do you have
There's a
any,
question in the other
in-
ones.
do you have any intention of attempting to go back to the developer? I know that you said that there was a $5 million number thrown out, but should this pass, do you have any intention to go back to them with?
Or to see if you can get matching funds?
You ask excellent questions, John. So what this does is enables us, if the owner of that parcel has a change of heart, we can use this money, some portion of this money to purchase that land. So let's say something comes along in the next few months, or even 6 months, or a year. I mean, the normal process is 2 to 3 years. So if the economy hiccups, or, I mean, it did in 2008. And when COVID hit, Stevens Associates lost 60% of its business on the books. So anything's possible. But with this, we're able to approach him and offer him more palatable and reasonable price, and we might get it. So, but it would also enables us, if other such things come along, to make deals for those. I also want to point out that this money is, in the past, in 2002, was leveraged. The 2 million actually compounded into several million more than the 2 million, because we were able to match funds with grants and other such things. Also, if this property on 41A were to come available, we could recover some or all of the purchase price just by selling the house, subdividing 5 acres or some amount of land, selling the house, and then conservation easing the land. So the amount of money expended by the town of Brentwood would be substantially less than whatever the purchase price was.
It might be really interesting, you know, to have, as this, should this move forward, and go to the town, to have a look at the value of the lands acquired through the $2 million and what the valuation
And that's
of
where I'm gonna
those
pick on
properties are.
Rob, I
Yeah, I
think is
think
out
Rob-
there. Rob is a great victim of circumstance to pick on for this, cause he's got all that stuck in his head.
this.
He came for this. Well, come on up to this chair, because I'd love for you to speak about it. Go ahead, you had your hand raised, so.
It's a general bond?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Bob hit all the major points. This isn't money that's gonna be taxable this year. It's only spent if opportunities come up. And the opportunities are hard to come by to begin with. I think as whoever asked, there is $500,000 maturing in the bonds in 3 years. So even if money were expended the next year or two, that might be a temporary boost in taxes until the rest of that bond maturity comes through. Bob is totally right, having this in the town's arsenal to be able to protect these lands. A lot of the grants require the matching funds to be available at the time you apply for the grant. So just having the capacity does allow us to leverage our conversations with the landowners, like Bob mentioned. So I think it's an excellent time to do it. Bob is totally right. The economy swoons, people, these things come in waves, and we saw that around 2008 when we protected a bunch of properties. So the time is right.
Now, how much, and I know you did this before, how much, I know we had 2 million, but you had mentioned before, I think when we were doing some of the other studies, how much they actually saved
Yeah.
what the value was, what's the value
Yeah,
of that?
exactly what Bob said. I mean, the 2 million, and roughly, I think it was about 7 or 8 years that we fully expended. We protected over $7 million of property. So it was more than 3-to-1 leverage.
That's
Yeah, because that's what you were looking for as a number, so.
I'd also add that it's not Concom's intention to conserve every piece of property that comes on the market. But to, we know that the town has limited resources, but there are certain pieces, like this 2/3 of a mile stretch on the Exeter River, that are strategically important for conservation. So we would be judicious in selecting those parcels, and as I said, not every one that comes along would be purchased. But this would give us the ability to purchase those that are most important to the town.
I'm not expecting you to know this off the top of your head, but do you know how many acres are in conservation and what percentage of the town acreage that makes up?
I know someone who does.
I don't know.
And Rob,
I don't know exactly. I don't know. I think it's in the high teens.
I think 18% of the
Mid to
town
high
is
teens
conserved.
Conserved.
if memory serves, isn't that one of the highest percentages in New Hampshire?
In this area, for
I don't
sure.
know. There's some towns, I mean, I think, I forget which ones, but there's other ones in that vicinity are even higher. I'm not sure if it's.
Not in southeastern,
Like Rockingham, Stratford, this area.
really?
It's not the highest.
But-
It's towards the top.
You can look at that in the two ways. One is that we have enough conservation land already. I would argue that there's never enough. That, honestly, that the conservation land keeps the residential development at bay to some degree, and that eases our tax burden, because we all know that the majority of our taxes go to the school system. And the residential development normally is, brings more people into the school system and costs the town more money. I don't know how much conservation we would be doing in commercial or industrial zones in town. What this does is enable us to conserve more property and thereby lessen the tax burden, the future tax burden that we're all feeling the bite of right now.
Rob, I saw you raise your hand
Yeah,
again.
Bob just nailed it again. There's been a lot of cost of service studies done. You might remember for people that were here, when the first open space bond was passed, Howard Codwell did a good one. And that while we do pay taxes for 20 years on, taxes on the bond for 20 years, once that's done, there's no more cost. And like Bob said, any residential construction, the costs are forever, the roads are forever, they keep going up and up and up. And so actually, the cost benefit is, it's definitely much lower and a benefit to our taxes to conserve land than to have it out there and be developed.
Okay, and then I guess my other concern is, or thought, on this warrant article is it looks like, Ned, you're gonna be presenting one too? Or is it,
Well,
are
you
they
know, I
tied
guess
together?
I'm gonna more be talking about
41A.
the mill, the Mill Road kind of group and just kind of about the project that they are proposing right now. There's a few of us that are gonna talk about it.
Okay, but you're not doing a warrant article, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
This warrant article is still on the table,
yeah.
but I'm happy to remove it if folks agree that the current situation, we can't abide. I mean, that value that,
I'm always for bringing warrant articles like this to the town meeting, because I think it's a discussion, and it actually puts it onto the town meeting and the legislative body at that point to have the discussion. But that's me. What are your guys' thoughts?
I'm on that.
I don't have any problem bringing it to
I'm
the
talking
to the
about-
town.
I'm sorry, but I'm talking about the
Can I just say
ones,
something? That a warrant like this, as you all well know, carries a lot more weight if the board endorses something like this. I think the conversation about putting that out there and of course, the town's gonna decide whether they wanna do that or not. But it does carry a lot more weight if the board says, yes, we're in favor of this warrant as well. And, you know, the Mill Road, that's gone. But what we can do is look forward to other properties that are maybe available or may become available in town. And unlike my wife, I think I would like to see us conserve more land in town as much as we possibly can. And the 3 million that Bob's talking about could probably be leveraged into, I was thinking 5 million, but 7 million is even better. I thought when we did the other thing, it was like, we ended up with about $5 million in value. It's probably gone up some now. 3 million could probably end up being 7 million again.
Or 10,
Or 10, you know what,
if I do the numbers, right?
yeah.
2 to,
So I would urge the board to endorse this warrant.
I'll make a motion to,
There's another,
I'm sorry, who?
One
Oh,
last
Liz,
thing.
Liz, battle, sorry, Bill, you
No,
lose
no,
it.
no, no.
Speak again.
If you all come out to the deliberative session on February 6th, on this Sunday, and vote to take $3 million off the co-op budget, which is where all our taxes go, I would support this. I mean, nobody comes to where the big money is. This is the little money. That's a $65 million.
I'm gonna make a motion to, put this warrant forward.
There's two now. Right now, I haven't read it. I haven't read the one.
You haven't read the second one?
For 41A, and I'm
Oh, you
still not uncertain if that's going to move forward or not, but.
well, we had a red line through it that it was being,
Because I thought you were swapping them out.
Okay, well, I
What
can,
is the
I can
41?
print
Yeah,
you a
read,
new one.
read that one. How about you read that one for us?
there's not enough money in it, so.
Well, I didn't.
Oh,
I put-
okay,
Oh,
forget
yeah,
it.
they want 5 million, right?
I put just a placeholder in there, I didn't really, it says $1 million plus dollars. So I was going to pick an amount, and then.
I think we
others-
go with this one because,
You can use
What's
it
the
if,
amount?
well, we don't have he gave 1.3, but we don't have an amount
and you
because
said they want 5.
they want 5 million, so.
They want somewhere on the order of 5 million, and they've made it clear it's not for sale anyway.
So we want 5 million, but it's not for sale.
I'm not familiar with where we're talking about. Where are we talking about?
Well, this is Mill.
41A Mill Road, the Wilson property.
Oh, I thought, okay.
Application for
I think we're
Mill
muddying
Road.
the issue now.
Planning board, so need to be, okay.
Well,
Okay,
we're-
yeah, I think we just leave it.
Got it bought for $1.2 million, one's $5 now?
I'm gonna leave it onto this warrant article for the one you presented first and not, cause it kinda gives you that leverage that you need anyway if you wanted to talk to them for the 3 million. So that's my motion that we move this one to the,
second,
all in favor?
I,
Aye.
So this will require a separate public hearing to post this bond.
Okay.
Does this get reviewed by town council?
It will before it gets to notice.
Okay, can I, there's a typo in it I found after I sent it, so can I just fix that? It's a semicolon.
Which one?
And it's gonna drive me crazy.
Can you send it to me in a, I think
knew
you
I
sent
liked
it in PDF, can you send it in
Absolutely.
a Word doc too?
Absolutely.
Is it the IE?
It's, every bullet should have a semicolon after it, and I put the and after the first bullet item.
Well, I'm just looking at your 4th bullet item where it says IE.
What's wrong with IE? You want EG there?
No, I want the double.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's not. I took, actually.
Because it's kind of like IE and then here's all my points.
I took that straight.
i.e.,
from the
let's move on.
old
Yes,
warrant
okay,
article.
I agree with you. All right. Thank you, sir.
Is there anything else that I can answer while I'm here?
I think that's it.
She has a question.
Someone has a question.
Who is? Yes.
I'm curious as to, are any impact studies been done or handed in?
For 41A,
Yeah, that would.
would you like
probably
me to
be-
handle that? Or
No,
do you
because
wanna-
that's a different
That's
board's
that's
purview.
planning board right now,
Yeah,
so
that's-
it's not really our board. But I think we're all set.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Mr. Chairman.
And then I know Ned wanted to speak, so I'm gonna call up Ned.
Yeah.
You're next contestant. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob, for
So is
stats.
Yes, yes.
This is actually the latest one, the planning board isn't out yet.
We actually saw this.
You did?
We got it emailed to us.
Okay, you did. What's that?
So I'm sure most people know about the proposal here at 41A. People have seen some signs around. We're here as a group, some people from Mill Falls here to just discuss, that we're opposed to it, and we have some real big concerns in terms of, the river, the road, the water. And, if you compare it to the Three Ponds, for instance, Three Ponds was, they have a municipal water source there, a state road. We have, our road is falling apart there, Mill Road. I think it's a real safety, issue. Right now we have 40 cars that 40 houses that use Mill Road. We would be tripling it with this proposal that's on the table for 75 additional units in a high-density cluster style. So, Mark, you want to,
Well,
The only thing is.
first, that is, so far, everything you've talked about is not a selectman's purview.
It
This
goes
is-
to the planning board.
Yeah.
no, okay, yeah. Mainly we were here just to kind of, let people know about this, we realize.
I think the whole town knows about this by now.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Right,
well
no,
spoken of.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, so the point of this was just to put it on record, that's all, obviously.
It- yeah.
This is not your area, you don't control the planning board. This is more of us, obviously, there was an article in the Brentwood newsletter, putting signs up. Our group has obviously attended all the planning board meetings. But like I said, this is more of an FYI, us sort of getting out in public and maybe in a point of record here with the selectmen. But as Ned was saying, we're not opposed to age-restrictive developments, senior housing, anything like that. What we're opposed to is the scope of this project and the location that where they're putting it. If we use North Road, Three Ponds, picture that in the location of where this is going now. The biggest difference is that at Three Ponds, the area was pretty wide open. Obviously, it was a campground. You've got a road that's used by the county, that's pretty wide and pretty well maintained.
Let's have free.
And our issue here with the roads for Mill Road is, first of all, I'm sure everybody's been on Mill Road.
And that's why we're pausing, right now, I know Wayne has recommended to pause before he does the paving to figure out what we're doing, plus we have the bridge that we have to address there. So I really think it does belong in the planning board purview. I don't know where they are on the stage.
Yeah, no, and again,
At this point, I guess John would be able to speak more to that. 'cause he's the
Right
planning
now,
board.
we've received the preliminary, conceptual plans, and we're awaiting the formal application process. So there is yet to be a formal.
How long does it usually take? I mean, development like this, Three Ponds took years.
I mean, it was
It was like
relatively
3 years, I
quick.
think.
I anticipate that they are going to be putting the pedal to the metal to get their application in before town meeting, because the planning board did just vote to put forward removal of the 55+ language from town ordinances. So should that happen, it would.
Well, they'd still be grandfathered though, because he's already started the process, right?
There's no,
Yeah, that doesn't affect the project at all.
Okay.
but the application has not been, the application has not been received by the planning board. To date,
Yeah, and if the town were to vote in favor of that, of repealing the 55 and older, I would think if the application's not in, then,
there's gonna be some confusion.
yeah.
No, I've already been
Gotcha.
told by Andrea that it's even as a site or a preliminary review, it's grandfathered in.
Yeah, it's my
The
understanding.
planning
they're
board
gonna-
will have to make a vote on that.
Yeah,
And so, without planning board approval,
right.
that would be a challenge.
My guess is that the reason that they're gonna put the pedal to the metal is that obviously after town elections, there could be a change of personnel on the planning board.
Well, the planning board's already voted in favor of removal
No,
of
I'm
55,000.
talking about the application.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's gonna really fall onto the planning board. When's the planning board meet again?
first and third Thursdays, so this Thursday at 7 PM is the next meeting, but I don't know what's on the agenda.
Yeah, the point of this wasn't to get any thumbs up or thumbs down
Okay.
from the selectmen. It was just more for information.
There are concerned citizens who are voicing
Okay.
something that they're worried about in town.
Yeah.
All right, I
get
don't
it.
take up your time, but
I
thanks,
appreciate
guys.
it. Thank you. Yes, Rob?
Hi, Robert. John.
Thank you.
Just as a follow, not specific to this, but just as a follow-up to the point of the planning board recommending removal of the ordinance for the senior housing, I do think that it's important, again, I don't think most people are necessarily against senior housing, but certainly the way this development came out and where it is, there's something wrong with the current language, and so I think, you know, even if people are in favor of senior housing, I think this will give the town a good pause to be able to go back and review it, and the current problems that the planning board is having with enforcing some changes to the layout and the number, that could all be corrected with future language. So, you know, I think a lot of us recognize there are economic benefits and other benefits to these developments, but the current language just isn't cutting it, and that it should be repealed and re-looked at and reworked, and could be always instituted at a future time if the town wanted it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm gonna do
Warrant
another
articles?
warrant article for the police department. This recommended a capital reserve fund to see if the town will vote and raise appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the existing police facility capital reserve fund.
So that's level funded to what you put in last year. I wasn't sure if you wanted to move forward with a similar article this year, or what you'd like to do with that.
We're on a pause right now
Yeah.
just because of the administrative change,
And-
but I think it would be prudent to probably put, I mean, we know that we need a police station.
Right, but that's not gonna get us anywhere.
Well,
The
have
only
some
money
in
we
there right
need
now,
is
right?
money for,
We have 75.
We have 75K.
the only money we need is for engineering and plans.
Right,
So
and we
to
already
have
have
more
some
than that,
plans.
to have more than that is unnecessary, because you're gonna have to bond the project,
So table that for now.
or spend 25,000 over the next 100 years.
Yeah. All right, so we'll table that one. And then next,
Good with
capital reserve fund for repair to town bridges, to see if the town will vote and raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the existing repair town bridges capital reserve fund. How much is in there right now?
Do you want me to give you the total, or do you want it not out?
Oh, because we're still bidding.
Yeah. You said there was enough in there?
There's enough in there to cover this bid. You want to see the total? This is the number. Just whether or not you want to start replenishing that for the next project. Mill Road is the only red listed bridge in town right now.
Then I would
Table it.
skip it.
We'll table this one.
Skip it for a year.
Look, Liz, we just saved 50,000.
That's good, I'm paying attention.
So,
So I have E91 data operations form to update town's E91 information, so that's updating it for me as the primary and Tim as the secondary.
do you have a motion?
Second? Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
I'm just usually used
I
to
know,
you making
sorry.
the motions.
Only Bob has to second.
I'm like,
Aye.
I thought I made the motion as soon as you tried saying that. Okay. Next thing was,
Do we have notes?
Well,
the planning board zoning amendments.
I just missed the word.
Why don't we go with the planning board zoning amendments?
That was yours.
Yeah, John, can you walk us through, I know they mentioned about the,
Do I have them?
you don't have them.
do you know?
I I do not know those off.
I know there was something for 300 and some odd square feet and stuff like that. So I know
Oh.
there was 4 of them, so I'm just curious what the
So I
4
can
were.
walk you through what I remember.
Yes.
I
we've
think we
already-
should wait till we actually have them, instead of
I
off
like
the
them.
cuff.
Yeah,
So
we
we
had
get
them
a copy
before.
of
Yeah,
Andrea, a full copy?
yeah.
Yeah.
Get us
Sure.
a copy, because
If we're gonna talk about them, we should at
I'd
least.
like to know what they are, because I know, as we're starting to hear, that there's the senior housing, we're gonna need to know what they are.
Yep.
Just so we're on board with that, because it'll be discussed, I'm sure, at some point. Seabrook Drill is on 2/9.
Yes, there's the drill next week, so I don't know if any of you can attend.
What day is that on?
It's a Wednesday.
Is there like a time or is it all day thing?
It will start sometime between 8 and 9 AM, and then depending on how the drill goes. They're usually out before lunch, but not always.
Just looking at my thing.
I would like to be there. Do I have to commit right now?
I need one of you to come.
If-
Oh,
Commit, if you can't do it, let me know, I'll get the time.
okay. What time do I have to be here?
I will call you. So I get a call from the police department when the drill is activated, and then the chain is for me to call.
So it's supposed to be as real as possible,
I already have 3 things
so
that
the
morning.
deal
so
would be that in the
it's
event of
probably
an
gonna be out for me 'cause
emergency,
I'll be busy until
Karen
at
would
least
get
1 or 1.
notification of the emergency and notify the Board of Selectmen, and then one of us would respond to the EOC.
Okay, I will,
And if Ken's okay.
I will be there.
Ken usually likes to do those things
Yes.
too, so. Okay.
And then I have a couple of housekeeping appointment slips. So these are for Michelle Studit for an alternate position as the conservation, Doug Cowie, same. And this is for Melody Santos, who was moved from an alternate to a full member of the library trustees. So these would be to sort of retro them back until this.
Make a motion on all 3?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll just sign all 3. And then we have the Brentwood newsletter contract. We have a draft. Have we reached out to Brentwood newsletter and shown them a contract and see what they have to say and get some feedback? Because usually contracts have a little bit of negotiation back and forth.
So I spoke with Julie Avian after she left the meeting last week. She was gonna reach out to Robin, and then I haven't heard confirmation. Well, they're not here tonight, so I figured you guys can work out what you wanted to see, and then we can send them a draft and go from there.
Yeah, and invite them to maybe we
Come
should
to another
have a
meeting.
meeting where we invite them to a meeting. I'd like to, get something to them to start that discussion. I think there's also some other things that we can look at too, like, Liz had reached out to me earlier today. Maybe, cause I know it went to 16,000, maybe we do 9 articles instead of 11 or issues instead of 11 issues, stuff like that. And I said, yeah, there's plenty of room to talk, but I guess we have to have them come before us to really have the discussion about a contract and what we're gonna do, because most contracts you do have a back and forth and kind of what's palatable, what are you guys looking at, what are we looking at? And I think we need to come into the meeting to have a discussion. Otherwise, it's kind of like, this is what we're looking for, and we really don't have any feedback at all coming right now from them. And I think we have to invite them to the table to kind of have that discussion. And I'd like to have a full board before we do anything.
Did you ever get anything from them about, I know we left the last meeting saying, can you send us an outline of what you would like to see?
I have not received anything yet.
So,
Can we send them this to start that discussion that Bob's talking about? And then
Yes.
invite them to join us
So are you guys all agreeable with this general?
as a framework, but I think both things that Bob said are valuable. I think we need to have a full board for this, and, it would be nice, it would be nice to hear
their side.
their perspective on it as well, but I think this is a good framework.
Yeah,
Did you put this together? Or who-
I
like
did the
who?
draft and then these are Bob's edits and suggestions,
Would,
based off of
Yeah.
what I had sent you guys yesterday.
Yeah.
The only other thing I saw in here that I might like to see is a minimum number of pages,
because if they had 14, I think is what they said to us when they were in our meeting.
but I think there was an issue when we were having problems that was one page long.
Oh, for the town stuff, right? That are like rec department submits and stuff like that?
No, there was just
And
one
library?
page sent out,
I-
or,
Oh, okay.
I guess I didn't realize that I thought this was what we received in the email. I don't like the
oh, this has been
deferred,
changed.
this has been changed.
Yeah,
I
this
don't
is
like
just
the
the
reduced deferred to a future issue or just discarded. I did like that we got to, there was some visibility into, if there's a claim that there's a space issue, that can be brought to the people who are paying for the issue.
I mean, you can send them both. You can send them the first edition you have, and you can send them this, and just, again, it's to open up discussion. So I think it's a matter of really
And again.
bringing them to the table to have a discussion.
And we're gonna need to, I mean, I'm still gonna stick with the, if we're gonna be doing the opinion stuff, we really do need to just focus on the town. And responses, if someone is called out in person, have to be given an option to respond in the same issue. So if that causes a 1-month delay, it causes a delay. But people shouldn't be personally attacked and not given an opportunity to respond in real time.
And I guess the other thing I would check with too is, if we do this contract, because now we're into February, it starts January 1st, so this is just a template.
Yeah, this was just a template, so
So
we'll execute it based
I would
off of-
also probably suggest that you put something across it, like the watermark says draft. So that way we're not, it's still a work in progress until it's solidified.
And then maybe, do a footer of revision dates.
Yeah.
That way, we know what,
We can track. But thank you for putting it together, Karen. I mean,
Yeah, and
it's a really good framework.
And then I guess we also probably need, like, if we're gonna invite them to the table, I'd like to have a response from them.
Okay.
You know, I don't wanna be like, oh, we put them on the schedule and then they don't show up.
So let's.
I'd like to know, confirm that they would be here, like, we're gonna be meeting every Tuesday, so, if we invite them to the table to discuss it, how long do they need to review it to get back to us on?
So can we just go through like a couple of the edits that you made and whether or not you disagree?
we haven't had a
I
chance to
think-
read Bob's edit, so.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of reviewing them, but I think the whole purpose is just to have that discussion, and I think until they come to
But
the table, we
she's
can't even
asking
do it,
what
yeah.
framework to send them. That's what
I
she-
would send them the one you sent me, or the one you sent to all of us first,
Okay,
and say, here's a preliminary, we'd like to have a discussion to move forward.
and then we'll give them, what, 2 weeks and then put them on an agenda?
Well, I'd say, we'd like to schedule you to be on in maybe 2 weeks, but,
Find out what their timeframe is.
yeah, what's their time frame? How long does it take for you guys to review this, because they have their own board, and I don't know how often they
I
meet.
don't know how often we do that.
I mean, if they're, like, planning board, it's, first and third, so, I don't know what their schedules are. So, anyway, that's where at this point, I'm gonna recommend that we not really discuss it too much, because I wanna have a full board on it, but.
Excuse me, Bob.
Hey, Ward.
Just a hypothetical, what if they don't come to the table? What happens with the newsletter? What if they're not willing to negotiate?
I have no clue. I think it would still, we still have the Warren article that's gonna be going forward, so, it would be something that eventually is gonna eventually you have to have a discussion about it, or, I guess, I don't know, if they don't talk about it, nobody's running it, then it kind of dissolves, I guess, at that point.
My next question is anybody from the Board of Selectmen called Robin and actually talked to her since this call arose? Has anybody actually picked up the phone and talked to her?
I haven't had a conversation with her.
They've been here for.
They've been
a
to
couple
some
of
of our
weeks.
meetings. I know Ken, I believe, had reached out,
Spoken to her.
and he had spoken to her.
Was it last week or was it the week before? I don't.
I think it was a
remember.
couple weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
When they put the newsletter together a couple of weeks ago, and Ken was here when they did that.
Hmm.
But I know Ken had reached out to him.
Liz
so.
has
Yes, Liz?
So sorry, I might be uniquely qualified to address this a little bit. I put out a newsletter in my former neighborhood for 9.5 years in Alexandria, Virginia. And some of the things that bothered me, when they came, they said it was 16,200 and it had been 10 to. So I did reach out to Bob and say, you know, I think that maybe we have too many issues and we should go down to 9. And my rationale was January, February, March, April. April has the business cards. May and June could be easily combined. That's usually you know, who graduated type of issue. July and August could easily be combined. And I think you could do without December or combine November, December as sort of the holiday issue. Make it easier. It would cost less to have 8 or 9 issues instead of 11. I'm not sure we need, there's usually an election, one right before the election, but we can probably do with, you know, the February and the March, or the January and the February, instead of having an additional one in there in February. That's a lot of work for one person. The other thing I would suggest is in order to cut postage, I would be happy to volunteer my time, because in my old neighborhood, we delivered all of that. I wrote the whole thing, but then we also delivered the whole thing. I'd be happy to deliver to the places like, you know, the Mill Road Senior Housing and the Three Ponds, because they have clubhouses. You could even have the names on it, but you could deliver, you know, the 100 there or the 50 there or whoever has requested it. You wouldn't have to send them through the mail. So the ones at the, you know, I think they do deliver them to the library and the town offices, but you could easily deliver them to the actual clubhouse for those people that are in those areas. So that would save postage. If you had 2 less issues, you'd get down to maybe 13, I think I figured 13,000 or something like that. So you're in between the 10-2 and the 16, which I think that's a big jump. The one other thing is, John, I don't think you can expect the newsletter editor to call everybody who put an opinion piece in and to call the other side. It has to be another issue, because most of these things are time sensitive.
Not the other side. No, just let's say. Remember when my dad was here, and there were some. This was before the current newsletter staff, right? And my dad had a couple of people saying, "Oh, Mike Morgan is taking cash from the SAU and stuffing it in his mattress at home." Okay, and the newsletter folks said, "Hey, you're being personally attacked. We're going to publish it because it's relevant.
Right.
We would like to. Here's the piece. We'd like to give you an opportunity to make a statement." Now, you all know.
Infinite wisdom, he didn't answer that, right?
You all know my dad, and he said, "Let him print what I don't care."
Yeah.
And that's fine. But the respectful thing to do, I think, is to give the specific individual who's being called out an
Well,
opportunity.
what happens if you have like 6 specific, I think you're asking too much of somebody who's already on a time crunch for the different things that are going on in town. It's extremely last minute that you get stuff.
Then wait a month.
We shouldn't have 6 different opinion pieces.
If we're
Well, maybe not.
if
But
6 of us are attacking.
You're still having the opinion pieces is like, I endorse so-and-so, or we're still
If
doing
6
that,
of us
right?
are attacking 6 community members, I think we have to reevaluate this whole
Well,
thing.
no, I know, but how do you determine, I mean, there are people, I'm not putting this out there one way or another, but the article that created so much consternation wasn't, I don't believe, attacking one particular person in
We're
the
not.
neighborhood.
That's not even remotely what we're talking about.
Well, that's how we got to this discussion today, is all I'm saying. But
Okay.
I would just be careful about.
We're
not
not saying. I didn't.
Get out by the 7th of the month, but.
I did not say.
I
did not say like, okay, you're going to talk about, you know, climate change and no, climate change doesn't exist. What I was saying was, you're,
personal attack.
Wayne Robinson is doing something bad, then Wayne,
Aren't
He can't even start the trucks that we bought.
that's all I'm
Are
saying.
there a lot of them? Well, maybe that can stay
Yeah.
there and something
Yeah.
to think.
All right.
It's asking a lot, is all I'm saying.
Understood, and we're tabling it until we have a full board anyway, and inviting the newsletter to come to the table. Yes, sir.
Just really quick, is it common that selectmen deal contracts, come up with a contract
No.
publicly, or isn't it, okay, just.
But there are contracts with all of our vendors, so,
No, I
Yeah.
understand, but if the
Not
town
really.
has a bunch of vendors, I would think most of the contracts would be done.
Oh, I need your name and address too, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Jim Hazard, 33 Mohawk Lane. I just am curious as to, like, why this would be done in public. I mean, a lot of
Because we had a
vendors-
meeting, there was
An expectation.
an
for us to-
expectation for us to set some type of standards or agreement with the subscription service that we get, so. And not all vendors have contracts.
Janice had a question.
Yes, Janice?
I'm just coming from the library. I just have a question. If we went to fewer issues, would we be expanding the number of pages? Because
I don't
like
know.
the rec center's gonna have twice as much news, the library's gonna have twice as much news.
I don't know, that would be something that, I guess, that would be all discussions that we'd like to have with
So
the
just putting it
newsletter,
out
yeah.
there as a
Yeah.
point of thought.
Yep.
Thank you.
Did Wayne have something?
Wayne, do you have something?
no, I think that was just my fault.
No, Wayne's usually not here unless he has something.
Oh, no, he's gonna build his own cars now, cause we can't get new trucks that actually start. All right,
Can't buy them. Yeah.
anything else that we have for,
That concludes my report.
Did-
any
did,
non-public?
So I have two things.
Hold that thought 1 second. Did that person accept the offer? And if so, we need to make a public announcement with the salary.
Seriously?
I think you did.
The non-public from
Yes.
last week. I'm like, wow, Karen doesn't know which one we made an offer on. I'm scared.
I just seriously got a deer in the headlights look.
I'm like I'm taking away the shank, I'm not getting stabbed by anybody. I don't wanna shank her, she's gonna be sitting here, she might stab somebody.
So what's the swear on date?
March 1st.
What's up? You wanna, I'll let you announce it.
You can do it because I don't remember what salary is.
I don't either.
I think you did.
Secret notes now?
She's writing down the
Hold on,
specifics
hold
of
on.
everything.
He was talking about it.
So we have formally offered and it's been accepted for our new chief of police is John Ventura. His salary starts at $97,500. Date of hire will be 3/1 of 2022. And he's
Where's he coming from?
Wakefield.
Wakefield.
PD.
Wakefield, meaning Wakefield, New Hampshire?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He is.
but he lives
in Newton.
locally. Yeah, he lives in Newton.
Oh,
He lives in Newton. He's started his career in Kingston, Danville, East Kingston.
It's been a long commute for many years for him, so now he's kind of looking to be closer.
No traffic.
What's his age?
Can we disclose that?
40.
Is he 48?
48.
I don't think it's
I
relevant.
don't think,
right?
I don't think we
I don't think
can
we can disclose it.
talk about that.
My age.
He's younger than me.
Is he a prosecutor?
The Seacoast News released everything 3 weeks ago, so if you want to read their article, have at it. It gives all his bio.
We're releasing it today because it's official today.
Is he a prosecutor also in a different?
He's an attorney.
So he is he gonna still be a prosecutor?
That's up to him. That's his own.
Okay. He won't be the prosecutor for us though, right? We'll keep the one we have.
That's up to him, but
Oh, okay.
it's his department.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
This
Liz?
was the deadline for warrant articles, correct?
It's today?
Correct.
Yes.
So all of the warrant articles that you received have to have action tonight, right? You have to like accept them or not accept them or.
We have.
Okay,
Anything
I'm a
with
little concerned
finances,
about-
right?
About the conservation, and I had one question, and I'm sorry I wasn't here at this meeting, but the meeting that you had about putting 2 full-time fire people positions in a warrant article, does that mean if that doesn't pass, we can't even get one?
I think you asked that last week.
Yeah, and I still don't understand this. I don't understand.
If that doesn't, if that warrant article goes down and it's not modified, then yeah, you're barred until the next.
No means no.
Yeah,
No
no.
means no, so we've tried for what, a year and a half, 2 years to get one, and now we're gonna put in a warrant article to get two, and then we might end up with 0.
We haven't tried at all to get one.
Yeah, we haven't tried yet.
Oh, we haven't tried to get one, what have we been doing last year?
And to be clear, this part of the process is not what the select board intended. Like, we tried to get this into the budget so that we could get a head start on hiring these folks, because we have missed.
Well, maybe you could have done 1 and 1 or something.
Why didn't it go in the budget? I asked that last week too.
They didn't have
It
a
seems to me
consensus.
that you're taking a big risk by going with a warrant article to hire 2 full-timers, and if the town says, no, we're not hiring 2 full-timers, you're stuck for another year without.
Well, I think,
Because the budget committee wouldn't support
and
it.
I think if,
But-
we're
but
also
I
putting it before the
understand budget-
townspeople to let them make that decision.
Hold on, I understand the budget committee wouldn't support that, but in years past, if there's been a disagreement between this board and the budget committee, you've gone forward to the town meeting and said, this is what the budget committee's recommending, and this is what the select board's
10%
recommending.
rule,
Yeah, we had to worry about the 10% rule though, because we're increasing that budget by a significant amount.
$300,000.
But we can amend the warrant article, that's the thing, we can say we want one full-time, right?
You guys can amend, yeah,
Whatever you
that's
want
something at the town meeting.
But
I think it's
I think there's a real risk there that we could get, I mean, I know there's not a whole lot of people out there banging the doors down to get out here and work full-time, but I think there are ways.
I think they said there was 178 open fire positions in the
But
seacoast
There are
alone.
ways to enhance our opportunities to hire
Yeah.
people at the fire department. And I think you need to continue to nudge Joe along to do those kinds of things.
I think he is. He's trying to be proactive and trying to figure out processes, so
Okay.
we're still trying to work through that.
Those are not the 2 things I have either.
Okay.
Great.
Ward,
I'm just curious when the actual numbers and budget process is gonna be talked about in public.
there's a.
Budget hearings tomorrow night.
There you go.
And I see, would like to know the position of the selectmen. I found it alarming that there were 20% increases in raises for the town, given our current circumstances with COVID and inflation and everything else. 20% raise is unheard of in these times.
Do we have anybody with 20%?
And that's where I read it in the newsletter, I saw it in there, and I'm all for people making a fair wage,
I don't
but
think we gave
we
anybody.
got a $65 million school budget coming, and
Yeah, I don't think we gave any.
I don't think there was any
Maybe Brad.
that high, it was a wage adjustment, so there was a survey done with Brentwood wages in comparison to 6 other towns that were chosen by the budget committee. And in comparison, those positions, on average to what they made to Sandown, Danville, Fremont, and on those same positions was about those percentages less. So the wage adjustment was to bring our employees up to
Kentucky,
an
that's a
average
spam
wage
call.
in comparison to those
Car warranty.
6 surrounding communities.
but it is a 20% increase.
Not in all of the positions, so the percentage varied depending on what the position was and where they were in comparison to those wages on those towns.
Okay.
And so to offset those, we reduced some of the benefits costs. There was a position eliminated in the town office to absorb some of those costs.
And I think, Ward, if you look at the times are that people are paying more money to get people. Walmart's paying $28 to get people to work in their warehouse.
I understand, believe me, I get it, it just seems like, as taxpayers, we're getting whacked in every direction here, and 20%, if it's an average or whatever, from what I read, it seems like a lot for a municipality, and if I'm not mistaken, most employees here work 32 hours a week.
No.
No.
True.
Oh, 2 just quit, so, anyhow, I think the taxpayers are owed some form of,
I think one of the things that we were running into, Ward, is you end up getting people getting poached because, well, I'm not gonna have to pay for training because I'm gonna take this one, and that was one of the things that we were running into. That's why we went with a pay matrix for the police department. That's why we're going with the pay matrix for the fire department, because we can put them through the training, but then all of a sudden they get scooped. The highway department, I mean, we had to do wage adjustments over there because, like Andy says, they're paying $28 an hour over at Walmart. Well, if I'm paying somebody 19 here and he can go make 28 over there,
Right.
it's a no-brainer.
It's not always about the money. Remember
True.
that. It's not always about the money.
$10 an hour is equivalent to $20,000 a year, so
It's a big chunk of money.
I
It's not
know
always
if
about
I
the
have
money.
somebody that's, 22 years old, and all of a sudden he can get a $20,000 raise,
Yep.
bye. They're gonna jump.
I'd be going.
And that's also the culture we're in right now too, with a lot of the people coming into the workforce. If they can go make an extra 20 grand down there to drive 2 miles more down the road, okay, they'll do it all day long. That's a new car for them.
A year.
Yeah.
It takes 2 years to get the car delivered.
Of course, the Jeep I want is 83,000, so it's not.
Okay, so
Yes, next question, because we're gonna be moving forward.
I have two things. Number one, easy to fix, I think. When people identify themselves, I think we should just say where they live, street, not so much number. I mean, I know everybody knows where I live, so they can come banging on my house anytime, but I think.
That's why we put the mirror at the end of your driveway.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's just, as a point of reference, just say, Bill Freya, South Road. I don't need to give them my street address. I don't really want people coming to my house, although you probably will. So that's the first one. Second thing is I've heard that there's no vacation camp, February vacation camp. Is that correct? For the people who kind of rely on that for their children's?
I'd have to check with the rec, I'm not sure.
I think he put a pin in that. Historically, he's tried to get that off the ground, and there's always been a low response for whatever reason for February vacation camp.
So this is the second time that we've had no vacation camp for a holiday period for people?
I don't think he's ever gotten the February vacation camp off of the ground. I think he's advertised for it the last couple of years, and then no participants.
Did you wanna go to camp?
Counselors or no?
Bill, did you wanna go to camp?
The one problem you,
I had somebody call me about it.
well,
Well, they're calling the wrong people.
Yes, I know.
here's the other issue.
Anticipating I'm gonna be on this board soon. so
Bill,
that's why they call me.
here's the issue though, right? So like, with our camp counselors, we do have, the high schoolers or whoever
This
the
is a
college
rec
student.
commission thing, we
Yeah.
shouldn't be
But it's a
talking about
rec
this.
issue, I just wanted
Right,
to
but
know
they're
that.
off on, I can tell you, my daughter at college,
Going skiing.
she doesn't get the same vacation. She doesn't have that February vacation, right? So, or they're going to spring break. They're not coming here to take care of
Water,
kids.
and they're gonna drink down there, you better supervise them.
Okay.
The name and
All right.
address thing was something we started when Phyllis was on the board, and that was at the request of Butch White House.
What did we do
So
before that?
Before that, it was name or name and street, so.
Name and street's
Whatever
fine.
your preference is.
Name Street's fine, man. What are your thoughts?
I just don't care.
He did.
Name and Street works. Anything else for public? Anything else from you guys?
I have nothing.
We have nothing for non-public, right?
Budget committee tomorrow.
There you go. Budget committee tomorrow, and the hearing is on 2/9.
No, that's the hearing tomorrow.
And tomorrow's just a regular meeting.
Oh, the hearing's
The
2/9.
hearing's 2/9 with a snow date 2/10.
Hearing for budget committee is on 2/9.
Budget committee hearing is on February 9th,
At the rec.
at the
At
rec.
the rec. All right. Having nothing else from the public, motion to adjourn?
Here.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.